Hello, my name is James Goulding, editor of Managed IT magazine. Today I'm talking to Peter Silcock, business manager for business imaging products at Epson UK, about the company's business inkjet products. Peter, 2018 was a big year for Epson. What were your highlights?
Yes, actually, you're right. 2018 has been a big year for Epson. We've obviously launched a number of really important products to us. But actually, I think most of all, the managed print services proposition, how we've developed that managed print services proposition over this last year has been probably one of my key highlights in particular. We recognise that actually the proposition needs to suit the changes in the environment and changes in the dynamics within the business world, and particularly how people are using managed print. And for us, we've developed products that enable sort of smaller, more mid-market type companies to be able to take on managed print services in a better, more effective way. Where actually what they're looking to do is actually use products that are smaller, kind of have greater capacity at the same sort of price as a copier type situation. But actually we've actually enabled that this year, and that's the thing I think I'm most proud of. And I think particularly when people are looking at quite kind of dispersed environments, maybe in a kind of retail shop environment where you have lots of printers scattered around various different locations, I think that's where we can now really help. And I think that's the changes and the kind of situation that we've now developed over this last year. So that's the thing I'm most proud of.
You introduced new A4 and A3 business inkjet machines this year. Why is that such a significant development?
So yeah, we've had, as I say, we've actually launched a whole series of new products this year. We've had some A4 products and some A3 products. Probably, as I say, the most important ones for us this year have been the A4 devices, both colour and mono. The beauty of these products is they are quite small and compact and allow them to be used in a variety of different locations, but also tie into that managed print environment. And as we know, managed services are really kind of developing fast. Lots of companies are now looking to invest in managed services. And these kind of products are small and compact, but also kind of designed for that kind of environment. So you can add solutions in, you can, the sort of price point where it's similar to that of a copier. So it really is kind of quite different. Probably the three kind of key products for us have been the C579R, has been one of them, which is a new A4 colour device that is kind of relatively compact. Is designed for kind of small businesses, the mid-market space. And these products are kind of designed to really have much lower intervention than a laser device. A laser device obviously you have the tone, the fuse of the drums. In our products, you don't have any of that stuff. So you have much less intervention with it. The ink, for example, can last up to 50,000 pages. So that's a very long time before you need to intervene with them. So what we recognise within this kind of dispersed print environment, people struggle to actually maintain them over a long period of time. So by kind of reducing the amount of interventions you have with your devices, it really makes a significant difference. The other kind of key thing we've done is obviously we've taken out, we don't have any heat within our products. For example, we don't have in a typical laser printer where you have a fuser built into it, which is effectively like an oven, really warming up and cooling down. You don't have that kind of long time to wait before your print comes out. So actually we've cut that period of time down, so we make them much more reactive, and so therefore kind of, whilst they've that kind of time to first page becomes a really important factor. So our new devices have that as a really kind of key thing. And the other product we've introduced, which is really important for us, is the new mono devices, which have like a 40K ink bag built into the actual footprint. And rather than what we had previously, which was them built onto the side of the actual devices, they're now integral into the actual design. So you wouldn't know necessarily that was how it was kind of built. And so it means that people, like for example, doctor surgeries, they actually can keep on printing for a long period of time without having that downtime, without having that situation where your printer runs out because like a drum goes down or a fuser or a toner's out, which may only last 10,000 pages typically. This 40,000 pages makes a really big difference. It means it could be printing for 2 years without having to do anything to it. So that really does make a difference. And the other smaller product we have is a new mono eco tank, which is similar to our colour eco tanks, but more sort of designed for business applications, but for where you have really small spaces, like for example in a reception area where you might just have a little thing just by you where you can just keep on printing. And because we don't use cartridges in this particular model, you just have a bottle but you refill your ink tank. And again, it means it can go on for a very long time without having to keep on getting involved. We know that IT people do struggle sometimes to maintain devices, particularly printers. And so for actually reducing that kind of thing down, it makes a substantial difference. And also we've also introduced a whole load of new scanners too, particularly these kind of new portable devices. And those are becoming kind of really important to us, particularly around the kind of mobile working environment where people are looking to change how they operate within business. So rather than having to be in an office, this kind of device will effectively allow you to take your office out on the road with you to allow you to scan sort of receipts and invoices in as you go. So it really does, it's really quite a big year for us.
How have end users responded to these new devices?
Generally, completely, overwhelmingly positive actually to our new devices. We actually obviously bring them into our business. We go to them in their businesses, and everything we talk to them about, they are really open to this sort of change of situation. For example, as soon as they see the print come out straight away, they recognise that situation, how important that is to them. In fact, there's no heat within our printers. That change of kind of mentality hits them as soon as they see it. So what we've developed, and one of the best things we've developed for quite some time, is actually a kind of a thing where you actually have what we call push the button, where you have two printers side by side, and then you have a button in the middle, and you hit the button, and it sends a printed page out to both printers at the same time. So you can see instantly the time to first page, but also we have meters, electricity meters attached to that, so you can see how much energy is being used and consumed by the two different devices at the same time. And always when we show this to our end users, they are kind of really surprised, the kind of the open mouth to actually, they hadn't realized there was such a big difference and how things have really changed, and how for us, like Epson's Business Inkjet products can really change how they operate. We have devices in GP surgeries now, and they like the fact it's so fast. The print improves the productivity of their nurses and their doctors far more so than perhaps in the past. So that's really kind of a big thing. So generally overwhelmingly positive.
Could you give us some real-world examples of where end users are using your Business Inkjet machines instead of laser devices, and what benefits they're experiencing?
So yes, I've got a couple of examples for you actually. One of them is the Whitstable medical practice, where we've installed some of our new Mono M5299 products. And these, like a lot of medical practices, they're a big practice. They have 4 GPs under them. And so they installed these devices, not quite knowing exactly what they were kind of taking on, if you like. But actually the feedback was really, really positive. And they've written a case study for us because they were so surprised by the improvements in their service. You have GPs who are able to kind of push print and literally have a page coming out within 4 or 5 seconds. Whereas previously they have to wait for the thing to warm up. And that kind of warm-up time actually impacts them. So if you're waiting sort of 15 seconds for something to come out, it means that often the whole practice, you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes for your consultation period, that whole thing can make a massive difference to their day. You could be extending the whole day by 2 or 3 extra kind of people that you might be able to see because of that time saving. So things like productivity have really made a difference. And the second one I probably mention is a company called the Better Food Company, where they purchased a number of our products this last year. And they are a company that they pride themselves on their kind of organic and ethically grown food. And so the kind of Epson synergy in that piece is really quite prominent, and they really like our products because they have dispersed printers. They have 4 different locations and a head office as well. So they need to be able to go around the different locations and actually be able to print things out in the different locations. And that kind of the solutions and the control element of it is really important to them as well. So they like the speed and the simplicity, and they welcome the fact that it takes a long time before the ink runs out. They bought some RIPS products, and they like the fact they can just leave and forget these products without having to interact with them all the time.
Clearly, the green agenda is very important to Epson. Can you tell us a little bit more about your CSR activities?
Yeah, at Epson, we're really, really proud of our kind of commitment to sustainability and our CSR kind of message. It's something that we're so proud of. And actually, we've also won just recently an EcoVadis Gold Award. And I don't know whether you know, but this kind of Gold Award basically means that we are within that kind of top 5% of businesses with regards to their sustainability and their kind of our practice towards CSR. So that we're really proud of that, because that really shows that we not only kind of develop products that are kind of really geared around the kind of green messaging and CSR, but we actually live and breathe that as well as a business. And that's really important to us. So we particularly with this, we won, we had outstanding in both kind of environmental and sustainable development as well. So we actually, part of this kind of award was really good for us. It showed that actually as a way that we do business is not just around the products we make, but how we look after the environment and we treat the people who work within the business. And one of our kind of key objectives for this year, for 2019, is to remove, by the end of the year, all kind of use of single-use plastic from within the business. That's our goal for this next year. So that's the kind of level that we take this thing to. So we as a business, we kind of create green reports every year, which are really important. We have like a really kind of big area within the business that are devoted to looking at kind of green masses and also CSR. And we take this really kind of seriously right from the top of the business. And even if you look back at Epson, going back almost 40, 50 years, at the heart of the business and the development of the business, these things were integral into the way that we work, in the way that we use our crystal technology rather than using heat, for example, to eject ink from a printer. We don't use heat at all, and that can make a significant difference, across Europe. If everyone was to switch from laser printers to printing in with business inkjet, there would be a substantial difference in the amount of energy consumed across Europe. It really would make a massive difference.
What do you think will be some of the main priorities for printer buyers in 2019? And how can your Workforce Pro and Enterprise products help them achieve those goals?
So there's obviously some key trends within the business, and not just in our business, but also across the printing business. Obviously managed print services now are increasing more and more. It's currently around sort of 36% of businesses who are actually using a managed print service now. And so the service element is set to continue to increase because people want to obviously reduce cost. People want to improve the kind of service level of their printing devices and security. They introduce a managed print service to reduce the sort of security concerns as well. So all these factors are really important, and the products that we've introduced during this year, a lot of them towards the end of the year, will become really important going into next year. As we hear in the news all the time about how green masses are becoming increasingly important. Every day we're hearing more and more things coming through. And I think the only way forward for us as a culture is to develop that whole thing further forward for us. And so the way that we work and the way that our ethics are concerned, you'll find that will become increasingly important to others. And so these new products, the fact that we can now have products that are designed for management services, that will cut the cost. Businesses are looking to invest more and more in this. And I think we have an ideal range of products to suit them, particularly in that kind of small to mid-market space, where I think we have a real benefit and a real strength. And I think 2019 will be a really exciting space for us.